Hello everyone, Kier here, and welcome to the InfiNOT podcast. I'm focused on the casual nature of the game, and each week I discuss the new patch, the new card, and my feelings on the game. Let's hop into it. So, this week we have a pretty, slow content update, but we had the new card drop, Doom 2099, and an update on card acquisition. Some stuff that's happening pretty soon, and some stuff that's happening later, and we're going to talk about it. So to start today off, let's talk about Doom 2099. Doom 2099 is a 4-2 that says, after each turn, add a Doombot 2099 to a random location if you played exactly one card. And the Doombot 2099 is a 4-2 that says, ongoing, your other Doombots and Doom have +1 power. So this card has been pretty highly anticipated, and I'm one of the people that were highly anticipating it. I have to say, I'm not disappointed, and I'm actually really glad that it's not as broken as I thought it would be. It's strong, but it's not unbeatable. I think it can spawn a total of, 4, is that right, in a normal game? Because you play this on 4, you play another one, you play another one. Including Doom 2099 himself, it's 4 cards on the board, which is pretty good. I think that its numbers are very large, but the downside is that you don't get to choose where the power is going, and they're taking up board space, right? So, this is like a 4... Yeah, this is close to a 420 in terms of power if you play this on 4, and you complete the condition, which is, insane. But again, there are downsides, right? You need to really play this on 4 in order to get the full value. It's taking up lanes, and you don't get to choose where the power goes. So, all of those factors make it a good card, but it's not a broken card. Obviously, it gets stronger when you pair it with Dr. Doom. The numbers on the board are very large, but you don't always get that combo. And so far, what I'm seeing is that decks that are built around Doom 2099 are okay, but like most cards, it tends to fit better when slotted into an archetype. I think the Spectrum archetype is actually really happy to have a card like this, because its game plan is pretty simple going into the last couple of turns, right? You usually play something like a Claw and then a Spectrum on turns 5 and 6, and for that you get rewarded with extra ongoing cards on the board to help with your Ant-Man lane, or to help with your Dazzler lane, or whatever game plan you're doing. So it's really good there, and then obviously a good backup plan is just playing Doom. That's a pretty decent spread of power. So yeah, really, really awesome card. I think that's pretty successful. And I don't think that it needs any changes right now. Although, I think that the win rate is pretty dang high. At least on SnapFan, I think it's running close to a 55% win rate, which is above, a normal card. So maybe, they might have to tune this down to a 4-1, and the Doombot's also being a 4-1. But even still, that's insanely powerful. So yeah, 10 out of 10 release. I really like this card. I'm having fun experimenting with it, and I've been playing it in the Spectrum deck myself, and it's a good time. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a little bit of an update. The community manager on the Marvel Snap Discord, Griffin, made a little bit of a stir when he posted about the card acquisition improvements. I've complained before that I just want to see a status update on where they are with the game. And I think this is the best that we're going to get for a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and read through the first part here. And then I'm going to read the second part that has to do more with what we can expect from an actual patch. So this is what Griffin says. As Marvel Snap grows, we've seen how acquiring cards has become progressively more difficult. Your feedback has been heard loud and clear. It's helped us identify and prioritize a number of major concerns. There's an overall lack of agency requiring new cards, new users struggling to get the meta, or get to the meta faster as it takes too long to earn all of Series 3 cards, returning players struggling to catch up after missing a season or more of new cards and rewards, and the randomness of the Spotlight Cash system feeling frustrating. We take these concerns seriously and are in the process of improving the ways players can acquire cards in the game. We currently have a design we think addresses many of the above issues. However, rebuilding some core aspects of Snap takes time to get right. We are in the process of gathering additional feedback on the design while the work continues in production. We don't have exact dates of completion yet, but it will take a few months. In the meantime, we are taking some steps near term to improve quality of life around card acquisition. And before we continue to what Griffin has to say about that, I just want to go over the points here. I think this is a lot of the core problems we have with the system, right? There's not a lot of agency. Series 3 is an entire mountain to climb, especially for newer players. Returning players having to struggle in order to catch up, and the randomness of the Spotlight cash system sort of feeds into the lack of agency previously described, right? I think all of these are good, and they say that they have a design that they think addresses many of the above issues. But I gotta be honest, if they have the design, saying it will take a few months doesn't instill confidence in me. I don't know. Like, all of this is nice to say. It means that they're listening, and I appreciate that. But I think this is too little too late. For the most part, I think that ship has sailed for a lot of people. I think the most important thing to recognize is, at least they hear us. That's something to consider, right? Like, they described a lot of the issues that I have with the system, especially returning players. That's something that I experienced in real time, because I wasn't caught up, and it caused me a lot of grief. Even now, I'm, barely keeping up with the new cards. So, yeah. Let's see what they have to say in the short term regarding this. In January's patch, we will be doubling the drop rate of Series 3 cards and Collector's Reserves from 2 out of every 9 to 4 out of every 9. This will substantially reduce the time newer players need to acquire all Series 3 cards. This is a band-aid fix, but something we can do quickly. They're also increasing the token payout from Spotlight Cash duplicates from 1,000 to 2,000 tokens. We know there are multiple issues with the Spotlight Cash system, but one of the biggest complaints is pulling a duplicate from the 4th slot with a hard-earned Spotlight key. Again, this change is a band-aid, but fairly straightforward, so we can release it quickly. As previously mentioned, we're planning for an even bigger series drop in the first quarter of 2025. Okay, so let's break this down point by point. Doubling the drop rate of Series 3 cards. This is an easy win, right? It shortens the time in half of getting through Series 3. That's good. No complaints. Should have been done a little bit ago, probably, but we're here now, so this is good. Increasing the token payout from the Spotlight Cash duplicates from 1,000 to 2,000. I'm going to be generous in saying that this is probably the best that they can do without them losing, in their eyes, a lot of revenue. And the reason that I'm okay with this number is because if you get 3 duplicates in a month, which is reasonable, that's enough for a new card. And that feels fair to me. What doesn't feel fair to me is having to get 6 duplicates in order to get 1 card that you want. That felt unfair. This feels more fair. Like, if I have a really crappy month, at least I can say, okay, the next time I see a card in my card shop, I can just get it, right? Like, that feels better to me. So, I'm okay with this change. Would I prefer 3,000? Yes. But what can you do, right? I'm assuming that they're trying to make sure that their revenue doesn't drop significantly. And, again, these are Band-Aid fixes, and they're trying to get a little bit of customer assurance back. And we're planning for an even bigger series drop in the first quarter of 2025. It's important to note that the first quarter could mean March, so I'm not super excited about it, but, it's something to consider. When you wrap all of these things together, we have a new series drop coming, doubling the rate of the Collector's Reserves, making duplicate protection a little bit stronger, and having something on the horizon for card acquisition is nice. All of that being said, these are Band-Aid fixes. They're not fixing the core issues of the game, and it might be too little too late. People get fed up with this game. There's a new Marvel property that's, kicking butt right now. So, Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough sell. I'm personally I'm personally pretty happy with these changes, especially the duplicate thing, because in my mind it feels more fair. Like if I roll 3 duplicates and I waste, 12 keys trying to get some new cards, at least I can say, all right, I can get a card that I want. It costs me a lot of keys, but it's costing you half the keys that it used to, right? So, not terrible. I'm okay with that. And for the Series 3 climbers, having, their rate doubled is good too. Those are the two big things I would take away from this. It's hard to be led on a string with $1 and being told, "Hey, we're going to make improvements. Don't you worry." Cuz we've been told that for a very long time, but who knows? Maybe this is a hand extended to try to buy back some faith, and at least for me, I'm going to stick with the game just because it's nice to play something on the go. And I do think that, this game has a really good gameplay loop. It's just this monetization really sucks, When I want to play a card game and I want to have my favorite superhero, it sucks when that superhero is behind a convoluted paywall. So, yeah. Overall, not bad. I'm loving Doom 2099 right now. I'm very glad that I saved my keys for him. It took 4, but I got him, and I'm having fun with him, so at least I have that going for me. Just one last short thing before I end this episode. Our little alliance has been trying to branch out, so if you listen to these and you still haven't found an alliance you're gelling with, we have a very super casual one that you can find under the tag IFN. And shout out to Lockjowl, who has been trying to promote it a bit, and of course, Winky Face is always a pleasure. And we have a bunch of other people in there too that are really awesome to hang out with. So if you're interested in that, please join in. It's open for anybody to join. And if there's one thing that you can remember, it's that I'm InfiNOT. Thanks for listening.